Welcome back. So yeah, now it's dark.
Is it supposed to be nighttime? Are we at like a sacred
I think
hideout?
so. I think so. Okay, so Area 5, Shredder's base inside the South Bronx.
Oh, so we're apparently in his base, which is in the South Bronx.
So the Shredder managed to construct an entire base in the Bronx without anyone noticing, apparently.
As he's just that secret.
Because as we all know, it's incredibly easy to remain unnoticed and hidden in the middle of fucking New York City streets. You know?
Okay. Now, to be fair, it does look like going off of these maps that the area is underground, so there's that. But still, though.
So people of New York didn't at all notice the construction work that was going on underground.
Oh, no. Don't you see, Shredder filled out the paperwork.
Uh-huh.
He had a permit.
How would that would be quite the scenario. The Shredder going to an office to ask for a permit to build this shit.
Well, as we all know from watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he has a little bit of pull.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Shredder. What exactly do you plan to build underground the Bronx exactly?
Touring tunnels. Yes.
Touring tunnels.
Yes, in fact, it'll be a great booming industry where everyone can explore the old caverns of New York City.
Also, a robot Spider-Man?
Yes, look, come on now. Surely that can fit my budget. I know, I filed it.
Uh-huh.
Hey, look. The city didn't blink an eye when suddenly Baxter came up with those weird mousers. So why bat an eye at me?
I guess you got us there. All right, so
Exactly.
the base is incredibly easy to find the path. Well, just constantly go down the stairs all the time, and then go to the right for past that wall, and you'll find the boss and you'll find the pathway. I'm not kidding. This base part is incredibly easy if you know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, then of course there's going to be again just keep going down. Don't even go forward. Just go down, and you'll be immediately come across the door.
Okay. This before, but yes, it's nice that you can rewind a mistake and try and correct it later on. But is it really the sign of a good game when you constantly have to do that?
Well,
Okay, look. Now, with good games like, the ones in the Disney collection, they're good games, but they're definitely difficult thanks to old school stuff. So, no, okay. To be fair, the presence of a rewind function does not necessarily mean the original game is crap. Again, sometimes it's a very nice addition, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted though, with games like this, this game can be really dickish with how it wants to shower you with enemies.
There you go, boss battle against the Technodrome, and holy crap, difficulty stalagmite here. Up until this point, the bosses have all been jokes. Bebop and Rocksteady Bebop was relatively easy. Bebop had a very easy exploit if you had Donatello. Same thing with Mauser. The boss battle against Clone Leo was a step up, but not too difficult. This boss, on the other hand, holy crap. Lightning bolts, a consistent spawning of foot soldiers, cannons shooting at you. Yeah, this boss is gonna take a lot of your health and turtles in general if you're not careful and know what you're doing.
I guess Shredder really wanted to spare no expense when taking them out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck. The idea is that I'm supposed to wait till the lightning bolts disappear so I can go in. Fuck.
Problem is, you've got that guy trying to kick you while you crouch down.
Because, this is, Lecter usually likes to say, this game's idea of difficulty is throwing everything at you, including the kitchen sink. Just throws so much. There you go. The bullets, the cannons.
I love how you got fed up and just decided to tank everything with Leonardo.
Yeah, it really is one of those cases where it's just, it just gets up. Okay, the first thing you should do is take down the cannons right here, so you can, at the very least, and then now that you take down the cannons, it becomes a pattern of killing the foot soldiers as they respawn and trying to, of course, hit the eye, because that's the weak point, of course. There you go. As long as you keep killing the foot soldiers, you should be fine at this point. It's the first part of this boss is the hardest one, because again, you have to get through the lightning bolts, you have to take down the cannons, which hurt you. Fortunately, when you get into this part of this phase of the boss battle, it becomes a lot easier. As long as you can take down the foot soldiers quickly, you should be fine. Just keep alternating between killing the foot soldiers and hitting the eye, and you'll eventually beat them. It's not too difficult, fortunately, when you get to this point. It's mostly at the beginning and when you have to dodge all that shit. Fuck. Alright. Hopefully it's almost there. And there we go.
Well, once again, the music definitely is good.
Yeah, the music is by far the best part of this game. Alright, and there we go. Now let's go in and face the Shredder.
Mono-E Turtle.
Indeed.
You are great. This is the final battle.
You have my support.
support.
Yeah. Good job, April.
You
Good
can
job.
make a drinking game from that.
Okay. Welcome to the final level, the Technodrome, and it's that enemy you just saw. That's by far the toughest enemy in the game. That enemy will show up, it flies, it throws lasers that hurt quite a bit, and it always shows up in pairs. So, and those enemies take a lot of hits. These enemies take a lot of hits to take down, and their lasers are very hard to avoid because, again, they attack you in pairs. Combined with the cannons and all that shit, yeah, this level is fucking brutal. And we're not even at the worst part yet. Later on, it's gonna get even worse. You'll see. But for now, once again, use Donnie to take down all these things. Yeah, Shredder's gun, whatever. Alright, remember, the idea now is that we have, for those who forgot, the plot right now is that we're trying to steal Shredder's magical gun thingy that can somehow turn Splinter back into a human. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. See, in the comics, Splinter is actually a rat that gets mutated, just like the turtles. However, and Splinter's original owner is called Amato Yoshi. In the 80s cartoon, they decided to fuse both Amato Yoshi and Splinter into just one character. Amato Yoshi was a human who got betrayed by the Shredder, and then when he fled to New York, he eventually got turned into a rat along with the turtles, and started going by Splinter.
We had the 2003 show, which had Splinter once again being owned by a martial artist.
That's because the 2003 show was co-created by Peter Laird, one of the creators of the Turtles. So, because Peter Laird hated the 80s cartoon, he absolutely hated it. And the 2003 show was basically a way for him to make a proper TMNT cartoon that was more akin to his original vision.
It's interesting given how dark the 2003 version can go.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it was made by 4 kids.
For example, the reason that the second movie has two New Mutants called Toka and Razor instead of Bebop and Rocksteady is because Peter Laird hated Bebop and Rocksteady. Again, that's the main reason why the 80s Turtles are so poorly treated in the Turtles Forever crossover, because Peter Laird genuinely hates the 80s cartoon. I
wonder if that also explains why Splinter, or 80s Splinter, was one of the few characters that people seem to like out of the 80s cast.
You know what's interesting? Joe mentioned the blimp in the previous part. One of the, I guess, jokes that tries to make fun of the 80s cartoon is where the turtle blimp from the 80s Turtles is way too slow, and they make this joke, oh, can't your turtle blimp move any faster? This is just stupid and dumb. But here's the thing, I even showed Deji Because like you guys, Deji also grew up with the 2003 show. I showed Deji an 80s episode where they actually do have a way to make the turtle blimp go faster, and I even made a joke when I was watching Deji. See, Peter, the turtle blimp can go fast, and,
but that's the thing. In the special, they make it go faster to get back at Mikey, or 2003 Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
So it does go faster after all in that version. So I'm not sure what.
Well, I get that.
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
I get that, but in that case, why bother making the joke at the expense of the turtle blimp before we get to that?
Slow thing going slow. Of course, you're gonna complain.
I don't know. But it's not even just the blimp. I could point out to many other things. The primary problem with the Turtles Forever is the way the Turtles themselves are written, where all of them are written like Mikey.
Peter must be going into conniptions with how much attention the 80s show is getting these days.
And from what I've heard, 2012 version, when that crossed over with the 80s one, I've heard that wasn't much better in regards to...
was that in a comic?
No, it was a full-on crossover on TV.
Yeah, Deji actually showed me recently this year all of the Turtles crossovers that have been made over the years, and yeah, like okay, let me just explain this real quick. See, here's the thing, like. And don't get me wrong, I like Phalos himself even said in his Turtles Forever review, and I repeat what he said. Don't worry, everybody. I am fully aware that the 80s cartoon was very goofy. Don't worry, I'm not delusional. That being said, there is, like I usually say to Dribs, there is a spectrum of goofiness in things. Things are not either 100% goofy or 0% goofy. There is such thing as a middle ground. And the problem with the Turtles Forever is that all the turtles are constantly laughing at their own jokes and they're basically going on full Shattered Crystal type of writing, you know, where they're constantly just laughing at their own jokes and completely ignoring any possible serious thing that happens. And that's not how the Turtles behave in the original 80s cartoon. Yes, there's fun stuff, but for example, there's an episode in the 80s show where April is actually in danger, poisoned by the Shredder, and the Turtles and the show treats it as a proper, serious problem that needs to be solved, and the Turtles act accordingly. So this idea the way the Turtles Forever writes the 80s Turtles, to me, I'm sorry, that's not how the 80s. If you're going to have the Turtles be a crossover, represent them properly. Yeah, I'm okay with people preferring the 2003 show. Trust me, I am. Just don't treat the 80s Turtles poorly. That's all I'm asking. Go on.
Here's my take. As somebody who likes the 80s version along with plenty of other versions of Turtles,
sure, I like that too.
I can get why people may not have liked the 80s show. However, this is a big thing to take into mind. A lot of people have grown to love the 80s versions. And again, if people have grown to like that, shouldn't just crap on it, essentially. Like
my main issue with
go on.
I feel like they kind of did a bit of a disservice by just, watering down the 80s Turtles to all that, and it feels just a little too mean-spirited. Okay, look. Now, something like Teen Titans Go, I absolutely understand why that got the hatred. However, I will also acknowledge that show has its fans here and there. Now, with Teen Titans Go, the fact of the matter is, the show itself points out that these guys suck. So it's more okay to poke fun at them because, well, again, the show itself is more or less admitted, these guys are terrible, so when crossovers take the piss out of them, it is factoring into the point of it. The 80s Turtles show, though, really did not call for that, though.
Not to mention, allow me to help you there. The thing about the 80s cartoon is that it was goofy, yes, but it was sincere, as in the humor was not self-deprecation. The jokes were not at the expense of the characters. It was more so the fact that the situations themselves were kind of silly. The characters themselves, however, acted properly, whereas the Turtles Forever humor of the 80s Turtles is just self-deprecation and nothing else. That's my problem.
My main issue, from what I can tell, from what I've been seeing with the series in general lately, at least, is kind of the opposite. I think the series kind of loves the 80s. I think the whole series as a whole nowadays kind of loves the 80s Turtles too much. They use a lot of its stuff in the newer shows, and I'm like, okay, I know the 80s one's the most iconic, but there were other series, surely.
See, the thing is, and don't get me wrong, everybody. For the record, I want to set this up for the audience. I'm a fan of both the 80s cartoon and the 2003 cartoon. So it's not like I'm just an 80s Turtles guy. Even though the Turtles from the 80s will always be the ones dearest to my heart because I grew up with them, obviously, I still appreciate everything that the 2003 show brought to the table. So trust me. Trust me. It's one of those things where look at it this way. Look at it this way. It's more so the fact. It's exactly because of the fact that I like both cartoons that I wanted Turtles Forever to represent both of them accurately. The problem is that there's not. There's clearly a bias in the way that, again, Peter Laird hates the 80s cartoon, and that special shows clearly.
I was about to ask, has he softened up on his hatred of the 80s show?
You'll have to ask Deji. He's the one who is more in tune with.
I mean, I'll put the. I think the only thing he dislikes more than 80s Turtles is Milo.
Wait, is what now?
That female turtle from Next Mutation.
Well, everybody hates that.
Everybody hates Next Mutation.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Peter Laird hates that bit specifically.
Yeah.
What? Okay, I wonder if the man's going into conniptions because the 80s show has been getting a lot of positive attention lately, thanks to the 80s characters being the reps for crossover material, and with the new Shredder's Revenge game as well.
I do want to, at the very least, mention that Kevin Eastman, on the other hand, he's perfectly fine with the 80s cartoon, actually.
He's the other creator, isn't he?
Yeah, he prefers the 2003 version, obviously, since it's closest to him and Peter's original idea. But he doesn't mind the 80s cartoon. He has grown to appreciate it for what it is over the years. Again, remember, he came back to do the art for this collection, and this collection is basically a big celebration of early 90s Turtles. So, again, it's one of those cases where, that being said, and again, I will also side with Dwebs on this one as well. Konami, now that you've given all of us 80s Turtles fans a big collection of all the games, see if you can re-release the 2003 games that you made. Because remember, Konami also made free TMNT games based on the 2003 show. So
that point was for the series as a whole. It's like the Power Rangers issue. You can even tell it by the theme music. The theme music has not been like a different theme every time. It's just been the 2003 show is like the only animated one that's not had a remix of the 80s theme. Everything else was, and I'm like, guys, I get it. The 80s theme's iconic, but you can make another theme song, can't you?
Well, hold on. Doesn't Rise have its own theme?
No, that's also a remix of.
Is it? Well,
yeah.
Well, the 2003 one definitely has its own theme.
That had its own theme. In fact, I think the reason they didn't use the 80s song in Turtles Forever was licensing problems.
Well, yeah. Remember the reason Cam Clark and Rob Paulson and the others didn't come back to reprise their roles is because of union stuff. Okay. See, the thing about the 80s theme is that it works perfectly because it was written with that version of the Turtles in mind. But in the 2003 show, obviously, it wouldn't make any sense to use that theme again because the Shredder is only one of many. Okay, never mind. In the 80s cartoon, there's also other villains, but the one that they fight most of the time is the Shredder. But in the 2003 show, Shredder is only one of many, and he's not the one who's always there. So the whole when the evil Shredder attacks verse wouldn't work as well on the 2003 show. How is Rise? Is Shredder the primary villain of Rise?
Oh, okay. Yes, but no. It's complicated. Let me put it like this. He doesn't really show up until season 2.
Well, in that case, it wouldn't make any sense to. It doesn't really make much sense. Well, so let me get this straight. They use the Rise uses the '80s theme with all the same lyrics, but the Shredder himself only shows up in.
They might have altered the lyrics, but
Okay. I haven't actually seen the show's opening, and again, I'm going off of knowledge from people who have seen it, but no, Shredder is not really a factor until season 2, and the way Shredder is that apparently Shredder isn't even properly his own person. He's apparently a curse that possesses people.
All right,
something like that.
let me bring this back to the game because we're at the final stretch. Okay, everybody.
Speaking of Shredder.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Speaking of Shredder. Okay, this, ladies and gentlemen, is by far the most difficult part of the game, for me at least.
Well, of course, it's the man himself.
Well, I'm not talking about the boss itself, Jova. I'm actually talking about this part of the level. Remember,
Radar is not working, so I am lost.
Remember,
Thanks, Donatello.
Remember, Joe, aside from the Technodrome, all the bosses in this game are jokes. It's kind of like with Silver Surfer, where the levels are hard as balls, but then the bosses are complete jokes. So, okay.
Again, though, I love that bit. Radar is not working, so I am lost.
Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Okay, to be fair, you can only go forward in this bit, so it's not like you need a radar, to be fair. Okay. So, here's the problem. This spot, yeah, and as you can see, this spot is getting tight. So, meaning now you have to constantly, and remember, like I said, it doesn't seem like it, but every time those two, and I guess astronauts, I don't really know what to call them.
Astro Ninjas?
I guess, Astro Ninjas with laser guns.
That
show
sounds
up.
unbelievably cool.
Yeah, they take, yeah, as you can see, yeah, and now you have an even tighter spot to go through, as you can see. Yeah. And trust me, you probably think, well, Pedro, you're not killing the enemies. That's the thing. Remember, these enemies take a long time to kill. They have a lot of hits. And while I'm trying to take down one enemy, the other enemies are hitting me. So, yeah, this part...
animation, was that you turning back into a turtle?
Yeah, basically, that's when a turtle gets captured / died. But again, at this point in the game, trying to go back and save a captured turtle is asking for trouble. So
oh, you can actually go back and save each other.
Well, I did say as much in part 2, to be fair. But the point is, yeah, this is by far the hardest part of the game because you have to try your best to try to get through this place without dying. Don't bother. If you have to sacrifice a couple of turtles, specifically Mikey and Raph, do that. Because, yeah, getting through this specific spot is painful. Again, like I said, trying to take down the enemies as they come is an option, but not recommended in my opinion, because it takes so many hits in just trying to take them down. Because, like I said, these Astro Ninjas take a lot of hits, even with Donatello's bow. So yeah, I'm trying my best to try to take as less damage as I can. But yeah, as you guys can see, this is just not working out. In fact, let's try using Donatello and using his stars. Yeah, the stars do hurt as much as my bow. But as you can see, yeah, it still causes. Yeah, as you can see, it's kind of hard to try to take down the. I'm trying my best to take down the enemies as soon as they show up. But yeah, as you can see, it's quite difficult to do so, and we're not done yet. You'll see. All right, let's try. Come on. Well, okay, these are relatively simple. Just use the bow up. There you go. It's the Astro Ninjas that are the problem. And again, remember, I'm using Donatello, and remember, the primary strategy of this game is to save Donatello, so Donatello is the best fighter, but if you let him die, the boss is gonna be harder, so...
Unless you go back and save him.
Trust me, Jova, at this point, that's not really a viable option.
So it's so bad that you would leave Donatello to die.
Okay, this, ladies and gentlemen, is what I foreshadowed in part 2. This particular part where it's even tighter. See, I even less room.
This game needs a crawl button.
Yeah. So here's the idea. I'm pretty sure here it's even harder to dodge the enemies because, as you can see, you have little space to move. However, this is where you can take advantage of the game's programming. Just wait for the Astro Ninjas to go off screen and they'll just disappear. See? Just crawl down. Don't try to fight them. Instead, take advantage of the game's poor programming so that the enemies just spawn out of existence.
I see you've got this game down to a science.
Well, remember, Joe, because there's no infinite health cheats, I had to actually properly study the game more, and so yeah.
Lovely.
There you go. Okay.
See, you can do it when you put your mind to it about the cheats.
See, that section is fine if you know the exploit, but the previous one before, no, that one is just painful.
Again, maybe if you have amazing good reflexes, you can probably do a no-hit run of this, in which case, commend you deeply.
Well, I'm sure there are, it's just that this game is not really good enough to warrant me studying every single pixel of it.
Pretty much.
I mean, if it was a better, if it was a better game, maybe, but no, this game is not very good. Sorry. Anyway.
Warning.
All right, so this guy is relatively simple because it's just one Astro Ninja. So as long as you have a good amount of health, you should be able to defeat him with little problem. There you go.
So it's one of those cases where you have to defeat someone to move on, I guess.
Yes. Okay. Now this is the order that leads to the Shredder. Once again, if you have Donatello, this boss is a piece of cake. That being said, if you have a throwing weapon like a shuriken, it can work too. However, if you have Donatello's bow, you're all set. So here's the Shredder. First, get out of the way because he's going to spawn in there. So the key to defeating the Shredder is to get him into a spot where he's stuck. You'll see for yourself in a moment. Yeah, he has that laser gun thing. There you go. Now let's try and see if we can have him. Oh, fuck. Hold on.
Don't worry, just wait for him to collapse the whole place on himself.
Hold on. There you go. Oh, fuck. My bad.
That's the thing, Dwibs. He's not in Super Shredder mode.
No, that's we'll get that when I do Shredder's Revenge. Anyway, there you go. Fuck. There you go. That's what you do. Just get a Shredder into a pattern like this and just keep hurting him as he jumps. If you know what you're doing, Shredder will not lay a single hit on you.
The turtles are constantly hitting me with his stick. I know. I will do the same thing over and over.
The enemies before you were way harder than you.
And he exploded and melted.
Of course.
Maybe he is the 2003 Shredder. His armor exploded, but the alien ran off somewhere.
You defeated Shredder and saved the world. Now I can turn back to human form.
Wait, really? Is that easy?
Well, remember, hold on. Thanks. You guys have excelled my skills.
Wait, is Splinter calling the turtles you guys?
Oh, Splinter is back to his real form. You guys are great. Thanks for your help. Help? Let's celebrate with the pizza. Help! More like they kind of did it all.
I love this one. The adventure of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is concluded. Not finished, concluded. Interesting choice of words.
Right. Yep, that's it. That's all we're getting from these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, I love the audacity of April there, as if she's implying that, oh, they helped.
Dwibs, remember, the plot is that Shredder has a gun that can somehow turn Splinter back. Well, okay, this is actually something that they took from the 80s cartoon, Dwibs, because in the 80s cartoon, they instead fused Amato, Yoshi, and Splinter into one character, right? So the story, the primary goal of the Turtles in that show is to force the Shredder to use his technology to turn their father back into a human.
Honestly, this feels like it's definitely taking more cues than the 80s show.
Oh, it does take some cues from the 80s show. It's just that the enemy selection. The enemy selection is definitely not from the 80s cartoon, I can tell you that. I mean, yeah, the Mauser is there, and Bebop and Rocksteady are, but Fire Freak, I mean, maybe it's one of the... Again, like I said, I have heard that this is apparently taking from both 80s cartoon and comics. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Anyway, that was the adventure of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is now concluded, Dwibs. So final thoughts.
Well, here's my thoughts on the conclusion. it looks like an NES 80s game. Hard. And really, really slippery with how you bounce back a lot. The music's fine. I don't know about the graphics. I mean, they're not bad by NES standards, but I've seen better. I've seen the Mario games.
I can tell that the sequels look much better.
Are they on NES too?
Yes, 2 and 3. The TMNT 3 in particular looks great by NES standards, which again makes me think that this game probably didn't have much time and money put into it.
Probably. There is one question though. Are there any Mega Drive games on this collection?
Yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist.
Ah, okay, cool.
Well, it has both that game and the Genesis version of Tournament Fighters. It has all the... Basically, this collection has literally all of the Turtles games pre-PS1 era.
Alright. It'd be a bit funny. Are there even any PS1 Turtles games?
Well, actually, yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, the Turtles kind of took a break from video games after the 16-bit era, but basically all the 8-bit and 16-bit games, as well as the original 2 arcade games, are in here. Basically everything from the 80s era Turtles.
How neat.
Yeah, I'm looking through the list now, and yes, it skipped the PlayStation generation entirely.
Well, yeah.
How lovely.
Go on.
Yeah. Although to be honest, I can't imagine how the Turtles would have looked in Polygon 3D on the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming they went that route, that is. But yeah, I mean that's it. I mean it looks like an NES game, really really difficult, and maybe I might give it a try since I just bought the thing today.
Mm-hmm.
But I highly doubt I'm gonna beat it without using the
rewind
system to within an inch of its life.
Oh, trust me. There's no reason not to do that. Like this game is just like it bears using it. That being said, Libs, okay, you talked about the game itself. What do you think of the way the Digital Eclipse tried their best to try to make the experience a bit more memorable with the map and the rewind and all that stuff? So.
I mean that's fine. Yeah, I mean those kind of features are maybe not so much the rewind feature because that's not in like every single compilation of games that I've seen.
Most of the Digital Eclipse is compilations.
Yeah, but yeah, I can see why people would not so much just rely on them, but use them as like a crutch to help them get through the game. But yeah, other than that, the game itself it looks just kind of NES-y, for lack of a better term.
Jova.
It looks kind of NES-y. Dwibs 2022.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Go on, Jova.
I think the best way to put it, I'm glad that this game exists because it would make way for better sequels here.
Oh, sure.
That being said, wow. Holy cow.
It has not aged well at all.
Now, unlike a lot of other repackagings here, this one thankfully has a lot of stuff tailored to it, which makes it bearable to play. So, thanks to the additions of the Cowabunga collection, this one is not as much a nightmare to play as it would be. That being said, that's not a good look on the original game, that they needed all these changes to make it fair. But yes, it is technically fair now. That being said, yeah, it's not something I'm probably going to be in a hurry to play.
No, just play the sequels. They're much better.
Which leaves your thoughts, Pedro.
Yeah, TMNT, okay, it's nice to finally complete this game in the Cowabunga collection, because like I said, I never beat it as a kid. And yeah, I didn't really miss much when I did the right choice. I don't regret giving up on this game at all back in the day, because yeah, it was never worth it. Because yeah, the game never really clicks. It's just like it's way too difficult and not at all for the right reasons. The layout of the areas are confusing, and there's little to no help in telling you where you're supposed to go. Meaning, if you don't have the original map, if you don't have the map that comes with this collection, you're gonna have a miserable time playing this. Not to mention, like I said, what was up with suspending the continue system during the water level? It's like they wanted you to hate that level as much as possible. Like it kind of sounds like a prank. Hey guys, you know what would be really funny? If we took away the continue system just in this one level. Like, and it's just like, why would you do that to us? That's just being dickish. I'm sorry. That's just being a dick. The point, maybe it was an oversight like Jova theorized, but I mean, is that really much better? I mean, the point is the game hasn't aged well. I realize that there's still quite a lot of people who do think it's good and like it. I'm not one of them. Sorry. I genuinely believe this game is definitely outshined by its sequels for a reason. Again, the developers themselves, after this game, just took a page from the arcade game and just made only arcade beat 'em up style Turtles games. If that doesn't tell you enough about this game, I don't know what does. Even Konami themselves basically strayed away from what this game was doing. You can argue that maybe at the very least this game has worth by being unique from all the other games that came after it. So yeah, it does have that going for it, but uniqueness in of itself is inherently a good thing. So no, sorry, don't really like this one. It doesn't even, the music is good, but that's all that's really interesting because the graphics are not particularly great, and the source material isn't even represented all that well. None of the appeal of the source material is really on display in this game. Seriously, you could have taken this game and make it its own original game, and you wouldn't even have to change all that much. Like, whatever. However, yes, I am very grateful and once again comparing to one of my favorite developers, Digital Eclipse. Ever since they've reformed back into Digital Eclipse. Okay, for those who don't know, they were originally known as Digital Eclipse in the early 2000s, and they made some compilations like the Sega Mega Drive collection for the PS2 and PSP. However, when they reformed, restructured, and changed their name to Backbone Entertainment, they had that entire period where they were making emulations that were not particularly good. Konami,
and their NES ports.
Sonic fans know that Backbone emulations of Sonic games were not particularly great during the PS3 and 360 era. Fortunately, in the early 2010s, there was a restructuring of Digital Eclipse, and they went back to the original logo and original name, and ever since then they've become one of the big authorities in collections because the new people in... Fun fact, Stephen Frost, the producer of the Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, is now working at Digital Eclipse, and they've done a great job. Like I said, there are recent collections for Mega Man, Disney, and now this one have been fantastic, and this one is their best yet, in my opinion. So thank you, Digital Eclipse, for trying your best to make this game more bearable. I personally think you could have gone even farther and maybe give us an infinite health cheat, or maybe, like Jova said, an infinite ammo cheat.
At very least just for the tank section.
Yeah. But that being said, they put clearly a lot of effort and care into the strategy guide with all the cool map and everything, which makes the game so much more bearable. So thank you, Digital Eclipse, for the hard work. And that's it. Hope you enjoy this. We will get back to the Kalma collection next time so we can play the sequel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. Yes, for the sequel, they just thought, you know what, fuck it, let's just port the arcade game to the NES. That's what people want. So, tune in for that.
See ya.